Hi, this is Audra Pryor. Welcome to the A's Call-In Live with Tacts, the Association of Clinical Trial Services. I am your host, Audra Pryor, and Ya Simpson is not here today. She has other things to do. I am her intern, Audra Pryor, and you can call in at the A's Call-In Live at 312-738-1060. Sorry, once again, 312-738-1060. So we're going to go ahead and start with this presentation. So here we go. Tacts, like I said before. And so we're going to talk about with diversity comes a cure, increasing diversity in clinical trials. So what does that mean to you? What does diversity mean? Diversity to me means a collective of different people, different backgrounds, different things, all coming together to make one common goal. And diversity is also shown in when businesses have diverse people in their businesses, that they do very well when they have more people to contribute to their goals. All right, so what is health equity? Equality and equity are two very different things. And equality means that everybody gets the same thing. But everybody doesn't need the same thing. Everybody needs to meet the same goal. So in this picture, their goal is to watch the game. Now in equality, everybody got one box to stand on, but the shortest person still can't see the game, so their goal is not met. But with the equity, they all got boxes that they needed to stand on, so the goal is finally met when you have equity and not equality. So, what do you mean when you say health equity? Policy changes, community capacity building, or institutional changes all relate to health equity. And specifically for the Black community, we need more health equity. And today, because I am 20 years old, we're going to focus on adolescent health and also what it talks about with mothers and adolescent health. So I have a study from the University of Washington, and it says how a mother's love changes a child's brain. So the study was about how a child and their mom was in a room with a box, a gift wrap box. And of course, children are very antsy, they're very impatient, they're anxious. They want to see what's in the box. There may not be nothing in there, but they still want to see. And the mother was taking a survey. And while the mother was taking a survey, they looked at how the mother and the child acted towards or reacted towards each other. And that showed a simulation of how they act towards each other in real life. So with the child who was nurtured, it was the mother who was taking the survey. She would say 5 more minutes, or I only have 3 questions to go, or it's okay, just be calm, we're going to get to it, you get to open the box. Those are the children that were nurtured, and they also had larger hippocampuses, which means they have a larger capacity to be better, to be growner, faster, more mature is what I'm saying, and to learn more because they were more nurtured. And then the children that were not neglected per se, but weren't as nurtured as those other children, they had smaller hippocampuses, which means they couldn't do as much or learn as much or be themselves as much when they get older. So, like I talked about that. And then also today, speaking of mothers, today was my grandmother's birthday. She would have been 66 today, and she was a very wonderful woman to my mother, and my mother is a very wonderful woman to me, so we're just passing down the legacy of being great and wonderful. All right, so you can contact us, Tacts Call-In Live, with Ya Simpson and Charles Patton. He's the VP, and I'm the intern and a student at Johnson & Wales University. I'm a junior at Johnson & Wales University, so if you have any questions, please call in. Let us know. What else do you want to hear about adolescent health and how mother's nurturing affect a child's health? Any callers? No callers? Oh, all right, that's fine. So they also said that they wanted to do more research to see how the child would grow up to be, not just them as a child, but them as an adult. I can say because of my mother's nurturing, I am a very efficient adult. I am a very good, making my way up to be I'm a young adult right now, making my way up to be an adult. And I can pretty much function on my own, except for we all need money. That's everybody's problem, whether you're young or old. You need money. It's never enough unless you're rich. And even if you're rich, you still want to make more money. Um, so I've been making my way so far, and I'm on the dean's list, and I'm taking care of my own health and taking charge of my own health, as well as starting to meditate on my own, and that has helped me take charge of my health because it calms my mind, it calms my spirit, and allows me to see what I need to do to move forward instead of thinking now I can just do, or I can just move, I can just be myself or be me. Because I've been nurtured to the point where I know what it means to be me, to be myself. So you really want to nurture your child and make sure that they know what their name means, know what their means in the family, know what their role is in the family. And even though they say like, oh, we don't want to tell you about this, that's grown folks' business. And it may be grown folks' business, but you don't want to keep the child completely out of the loop. Children hear a lot more than you think they do. And unfortunately, they pick up things that you don't want them to pick up. And then that's where you have to do the corrective measures. But no harm, no foul. They're a child. They don't mean any harm by it. They just need to know what's right and wrong. Just like any other person. You're adults, I see adults every day make bigger mistakes than I have. So you just have to keep going, keep doing it. Also about the study. They said that the children who weren't nurtured, they said they had early onset depression or early onset anxiety because of the lack of nurturing from their mothers. And unfortunately, that is a very real thing that we have to deal with, especially in the Black community. Unfortunately, we do not talk about mental health issues as much as we should. Even though it is rampant in our communities, we choose to ignore it. We choose to ignore a lot of things, such as the drug use in our community and the alcoholism that is in our community, because we all have that drunk uncle that maybe comes to the cookout, or that auntie that comes and she's like a little off something, but you're not sure what she does. Or we all have those family members that you're okay with them being on drugs, you're okay with them having mental issues, but you never ask about the why. And it's like you want to know, but why don't you, when you want to know something, why don't you ask? And that's what really drives children, is curiosity. So maybe we could take a book from a child and become more curious about things. Why is the mental health issues in our community so rampant? Why is the alcoholism and the drug abuse in our community so rampant? And science does have the answers for these, but we want you all to go out and find the answers for yourself. It's not always in a book. It's not always in a brochure or something. It could be within you or within someone else that you know, or within that person or their mother. What was the mother doing while the child was being conceived that caused them to have mental health issues? Not that they're to blame, because you can't control things like that, but you just want to know why. And I think that's a big thing in the Black community. They love to keep secrets about things. And unfortunately, we have to get past that. We have to be more open with ourselves and open with our love in our communities, because keeping things secrets is how people can secretly pass away. You have to be aware of everybody's status in your community. You have to be aware of everybody's well-being in your community in order for your community to be well. So, you just have to be more curious about people's health, be more curious about people, be more curious about yourself, and become more self-aware, let everyone around you become more self-aware, and you become the example that you want to see in the world. Any callers? No? All right. So we're going to talk about at school. I have friends that are at school, and they're not completely aware of themselves yet, but I've been aware of myself for a long time due to my mother's early nurturing, and I've been very accelerated for my entire life due to that nurturing. And unfortunately, I butt heads with the kids at my school a lot because they want me to be them instead of me being me. They want me to bend to their authority, and I have a big problem with authority because I believe that I'm my own authority, and I have believed that for a while, especially if I've been on my own for a while. So it's hard to try to listen to other people and other people's ideas when I've done a lot of projects and a lot of things, and I know what works and what doesn't. And so to listen to other people's ideas, you also need to become, when you become more curious, you need to become a better listener because you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you need to listen twice as much as you talk is what my professors always tell me when I'm in class. Like, I don't talk a lot when I'm in class, but they say that to the troublemaking students that are in class. Because you want to be both receptive, you want to be able to receive and give, so that's why you have 2 ears to be able to do both. Actually, science shows that the right ear is better for the left ear is better for listening to voices, and the right ear is better for listening to music. So that just shows you already how the brain could work at the same time doing 2 different things if you just focus and put your mind to it and train your mind as well. I've had in high school they gave us a mental trainer, and he gave us these sheets of different directions and different arrows and colors and stuff, and to us we were like, this makes no sense. This doesn't help us. This is not going to help us pass the ACT or get into college. But when I go back and I look at those sheets that he gave us, it really made us just sit down and think. And I think that's a huge issue that teachers have in their classrooms, whether it be elementary or high school or college, is getting the kids just to sit there and listen to you for an allotted amount of time. And kids don't want to do that. Kids want to be distracted. They want to do the things they want to do, see the places they want to see. And you trying to be an authority in front of them feels like that you're taking away their freedom. Even though you're not, you're just trying to teach them. But that's how they feel. That's how it comes across to them. So the teachers or meditation should actually be put into schools. And they've also, in some schools, they've put meditation. I saw a picture of a child on Twitter, and he was meditating to himself because the rest of the class had made him so upset. He didn't know what to do about it, and you're not the teacher in the class, so you just have to go into yourself and find your own peace inside of yourself. And that's exactly what he did. And the children in the room couldn't have been more than 6, but he was already meditating at 6 and finding his own peace. So if we can maybe teach our children to find their own peace earlier, then they won't worry about the peace that they get from their parents or the peace that they get from anyone else, because their own happiness and their own peace will already be inside of them. And that way they become more aware of themselves, and also they become more aware of who they are meant to be. And that's why when mothers name their children unique names, especially in the Black community, you have some really unique names and unique spellings. We want to be very careful when we judge those type of names, because their mother may have had a specific reason for naming them those things. And their names, your name should really be your own prayer. It should, because you will want to call on yourself when you need help. You should be your most reliable person, your most reliable you. And you may have a faith, you may have go to church or things like that, no problem, but your first prayer should be your name, and then asking for peace and help and whatever else that you need from your faith. Any callers? No callers? No. Well, speaking of names, my name is Audra Pryor, or Audra Shashao Salvia Pryor, if you want the whole thing. And it means girl born on Monday. Seshat means balance, justice, and powers. Osalvia means to keep the foreigners out, and Pryor means head of monastery. So it's a very long, very powerful name, and I'm 20, and I knew what it meant, but I'm just starting to grow into my name and grow into what that means to me, and finding meaning for myself, not based on anybody, an unbiased meaning for myself. Meaning that I want to look at myself objectively and then look back at me and be proud with that product. And so far, so good. I'm doing everything that I can. Like I told you before, all my accomplishments, I'm the executive head captain of the STEP team. So I also have achieved the status of authority. Even though I feel like I'm my own authority, I have authority over others now. Not that I'm going to take that to the head. I am not a very rude or mean person, but I do want to be respected and be treated as my name is powerful. I want to be treated with authority. I want to be treated as I am. So, just to give you a synopsis of what I mean by that is that whenever I meet people, I really tell them that my name is AJ because, oh, we have a caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, I heard you calling.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Call. So here I am. I'm calling. You're not the same young lady as before. But listen, the kids need to know what going on with their body, with their minds. Take them to the hospital and see some of these young kids that have AIDS, how they look, how bad they look. And they'll think twice about going out there. But the thing is, you could tell, you could talk every day of your life to one of these kids, show them, and then let them know if you're going to go out there and have sex, cover up. Because if you don't cover up, you're going to be in the bed next to the person that you saw. So please tell the young kids, listen, what do you think is going on here? They're trying to save your lives, the young ladies on the TV. And if you don't want to listen, don't listen. But you will be in the bed next to the other person. Thank you.
Okay, caller, thank you. We heard everything that you said. I want to address the first thing that you said, which was taking the children to the hospital and see the kids with AIDS and see how bad they look. First off, AIDS has no look. AIDS or HIV AIDS really has no face to it. And everybody doesn't show symptoms. Everybody doesn't look sick when they get STDs. Everybody doesn't look a certain way. So there's no look to HIV AIDS. If you, that's actually, it sounds more like a scare tactic rather than trying to inform the children about what's out there. When you talk about, you don't want to scare children, you just want them to be knowledgeable. It's no reason to scare them into anything. They can hear you at a normal volume. They can hear, when people, they can see when people are sick. That's no problem. Your children have all the senses that you do. So, to scare them, you don't want to be scared. You don't want to be pushed into anything. So why do that to them? Just tell them that these things are out there, and if you want to have sex, or if you want to engage in these things, please know that you're taking a risk when you do this. But I'm not going to forbid you from doing something just because it's out there. Fear is not going to progress our community. Only love and information will. So you would want to tell them that before you take them to the hospital. Also, sex education should be put in our schools well before you want to take them to a hospital or something. We have another caller. Hello. Hello.
Hello. I just wanted to call in and just say thank you so much for hosting this show. Adjua's your mom.
Hello, mother. How are you?
I am busy. I am at a town hall. I just wanted to make sure that, first of all, that we said Happy Earth Day would have been my mother's 66th birthday, so our ancestor Linda
Yes, we did
Simpson
shout
is.
that out. We did.
Yes, very good. And then secondly, thank you for doing such a good job, and I appreciate what you bring to the table and helping people to know better about their health, especially adolescent and millenniums.
Yes.
Okay, then. There's really no real question, but
Oh,
thank you so much, and I hope the program goes well.
it's going well so far, so thank you.
All right, then. You take care.
You
I'll talk
too.
to you all later.
All
And
right.
shout out to Baba Charles, our community, the people's counselor.
All right, thank you. That was my mother, as you heard, one of the first women to ever nurture me. I have many mothers. This is some people adopt mothers all the time, but that was my mother. She's the reason why I'm so smart because I was nurtured from a young age. And like she said, also along with Baba Charles, the people's counselor, We all are people who do people's work. We're never really in the house. The house is for sleeping and for nothing else, or work that you can't do at the job. So yes, and she says she's the community epidemiologist, and right now I'm just in a position where I'm just the people's children. Actually, I can speak for what the children want to say or can't say to their parents, or don't feel like they have the words to say it. I'm also a writing coach at my school, so that's why I'm so good with words and writing papers and things like that, because it just comes so easily to me because of that early nurturing. Um, so thank you for that call, Mom. And the caller before her, he was saying about, you want to tell these, like I said, you don't want to keep them out of the loop. He was correct about that, but you also don't want to scare them. Adults don't like being scared, so neither do children. Um, and any other callers? No? All right. Well, this has been um, so we're going to talk more about my name, Prior, head of the monastery. So my other side of the family, with my dad and my aunts and my cousins, because I don't have any brothers and sisters, I'm the only child. My dad, his name is Michael, which is like a rhetorical question, which means he who is like God. And sometimes it really weighs down on him because the family is depending on him to do things, and sometimes having the weight of your family on your shoulders can be really draining, or not saying that he's depressed or anything, but saying that it can be very heavy to try to lift your whole family, and your family doesn't like I said, we don't want to know about the why. Why is he upset? Why is he angry? Or sometimes they talk about my aunt. My aunt, she gets upset, but she works at a hospital, and after she comes back from whatever dismay is at the hospital, if her house is looking a certain way, and she gets upset. But that's pretty much every black mother. If I left the house a certain way, then it should be the same way when I got back. And we don't really look at why the parents lash out, or why the parents are so angry at their children, because as children we don't want to know. We don't care what you're going through. We want you to nurture us when you get home, or we want you to give us comfort, give us love, because we're not your problems at work. We're not your problems in life. We're just your children, and that's what we want to be treated as. And as well as my cousin, me and my cousin are very close. A lot of people mistake us for sisters, which is fine, no problem with that. We do look a little, I say I look like anybody who I'm sitting next to in my family. So I just have everybody in me, I guess. And she was saying that you can't really allow their problems to bother you, but sometimes it does. If it's from your mother's voice, if it's from your father's voice, or someone, it does get to you, because it's the person that you thought wouldn't, because the outside world is already treating you so badly. So for your mother or your father to come home and be upset at you, it feels detrimental to you as a child. You don't feel like you can function correctly, or you don't feel like you can go on because you don't have that approval. Which is why I was saying that you need to teach children to meditate early on, so that the children aren't looking for your approval. They're only looking for the approval of themselves. They're only looking for the approval of their accomplishments and how they represent themselves, and not from anyone else. So I just wanted to put this all together and say that children need to know about the health. Children need to take charge of their health, and please tell your children how to do things early on, because I know a lot of children are nervous or anxious about making dentist appointments or doctor's appointments or doing certain things, because they're so used to their mothers and their fathers taking care of them for it. So taking care of it for them, sorry. And so if you teach them early, then they'll grow into it later, and after a while it'll just become a pattern, and your child or your young adult will be well on their way. So thank you. This has been Tacts, the A's Calling Live with Tacts. Thank you so much. Please tune in next time, and we'll see you again.